Welcome to the MMA Killshot podcast for UFC Mexico. Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno. I know Moreno's the A side and I fucked it up. The couple of Brandons in a rematch. That's their main event. Co-main, also a 5-round fight, also a rematch. Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega. It's a night of rematches, by the way, because I think the people's main event in this card is the other rematch: Edgar Chairez and Daniel Da Silva Lacerda. And we're going to talk about plenty about that fight later. I'm Sniper. That's Monk. Supposed to be joined by Gino. He's lost in the Matrix somewhere. And you know what? All you people, including whatever troll called me annoying last week. Fuck you, buddy. I may be annoying, but I'm probably smarter than you. If you're still watching, definitely. Listen, we came up with the format that I heard. Some people like, some don't. Trying to defend each fighter. And when we get to 3 people, I'm going to try and convince Geek to keep doing that, which, by the way, Geek will be back next week for those of you who really miss Geek. I get it. He's funny and all that stuff. He's my boss. And I guess they'll fuck with him. But we want to do something different. There's so many breakdown podcasts. Got to be a little bit different. And to me, if you want to listen to a 2-hour podcast, you're different than me. And that's fine. I think 45 minutes is kind of the sweet spot. I think all the hour breakdowns are a bit much. There's plenty of content out there. Try and be funny. We'll break down some fights. And aside from A side, B side being different, the full fight breakdowns from each coach are available to DFS Army members. So if you want those, link down below. We got to save something for the members. Everything, cheat sheets, fight rankings, optimizers, projections. I have a unique sniper score method that's been interesting for GPPs. So come check out all that stuff. We got weekly passes, all that good stuff. For now, though, me and Monk, we're going to go old school. If Gino jumps in, we're going to go right back to defending a fighter and picking up where we left off. So, but fuck you. It's not going to be a 2-hour podcast. And you know what? When Geek comes back, he knows it. I'm going to bust his balls every chance I get. I think I'm going to invest in a buzzer, Monk, that every 5 minutes, that if he goes past 5 minutes on a breakdown, I just slam the buzzer.
We need the box from Chappelle Show. Play him off. Wrap that shit up, B.
Get the Academy Award music overlay.
Right. Well, it'll be a thing when me and you were just like, I pick Moreno, and that's it. Because I want to get out of here in like less than 90 minutes.
What Monk said, or what Geek said. He's smart.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do an actual card open now that I told you I was gonna bust some trolls balls. And I do it all in good fun. If you're going to throw a jab like calling me annoying while I play with the mic here, then I'm going to throw jabs back because
exactly.
I got thick skin, but I'm also a dick. Anyway, theme of this card, by the way, is live underdogs, but none you can really like. We're gonna say it a lot. There's a lot of live dogs on this card. It's a good GPP card for DraftKings. By the way, we're going to throw out some bets as well. There is one dog, though, that I think everybody's on that I'm so far off of. I don't think we talked about this.
Oh,
in our staff chat, but there's one dog I'm not all about. We'll talk about that in a second. Are you looking forward to breaking this card down where you got big favorites like Yasmin Urigue, Edgar Chairez, Felipe Dos Santos in his second UFC fight?
Yeah, super trustworthy people. We know a lot about them too. Lots of cage time. No, but yeah, I am looking forward to going through the fight. I am looking forward to the fights. Most of them are probably going to be shit shows, low level UFC shit show fights, but I'm here for that instead of no fights at all by 100 times out of 100.
And they're going to be fun.
And that's exactly my point. These low level shit show fights, dude, we get like 10 these are the cards that produce 10 knockouts, or 10 finishes, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, while it could, and it makes for interesting DraftKings plays too. It's not, last week it might be fun if you're trying to parlay all the winners and you get, it's all chalk, 11 favorites win. That's not fun for DFS. That's not fun. I mean, Val Woodburn made the optimal lineup last week. It's not fun for DFS. So cards like this are very good for variance.
I mean, I enjoyed the fights last week, but you're right in terms of how fun it was about as fun as the UFC welterweight division. It's about that fun, which, by the way, not fun.
I don't know. I agree, except I loved watching Merab just demolish Henry Cejudo. That was my favorite.
Like, Killshot won round 1, and then Merab got angry. You know what I missed from that fight? I know we're kind of rambling, and then we're pulling a geek here, but we'll get into it in a second. Ray Longo wasn't mad enough between rounds.
Yeah, I
I missed
agree.
the Ray Longo screaming.
I guess he
That's
doesn't
my
have to
guy.
be like that with Marab. He doesn't have to get Marab going because Marab's just always going. Apparently, he fought
True.
full 100% with Aljo for 15 minutes right before the fight.
Dumb. Just the guy's crazy. All right, let's talk fights. Let's start main event. Let's jump right into it. Brandon Moreno, 8,800, taking on Brandon Royval at 7,400. Line on this fight. Moreno's minus 300. Royval is plus 250. Monk, you get the honors. You could take the main event, mostly because I want to rant about the co-main.
Well, this is the Brandon Bowl, aka Pantoja's children fight each other. I mean, Pantoja's got like 4 wins over these guys. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Moreno. Royval is the more quote unquote exciting fighter, I guess, is the perception. But Moreno just seems more consistent. I don't know what we're gonna get when Royval steps into the octagon each and every time. I don't know which one is gonna show up. Is it gonna be the one against Nicolau? Or is it going to be the one against like Rogerio Bontorin, in which he got outscored in a win in that fight? So I just don't know what I'm going to get there. The salaries make that a bit easier for me, as he's only 7,400, whereas Moreno 8,800. I just feel like this goes to decision, and I think both guys give up a decent amount of points when they lose, and both guys have a pretty good floor overall, as long as they're not getting knocked out, which I don't expect to happen in this fight. So yeah, for GPPs, I'm going to play the average amount because they don't score, out of this world by any means. It's just about over 90 points for each guy. But in cash, I almost don't mind like a stack for a couple of lineups, which I usually hate. I never stack, like, ever. But I could see it here. I mean, both guys have really good floors, especially in 5-round fights, if this goes to decision.
Yeah, I'm all about a stack here. Fight goes to decision is... Actually, fight ends into the distance is minus 160. And that's really because of how Royval closes the distance. Does not care if he gets hit. Wants to go to the ground. Both guys, though, are good scramblers. I could see reversals, takedowns from either side in this fight. I think it scores relatively well. I don't think we see a quick finish in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to remember the Moreno.
I'd be surprised if we saw a quick finish.
Yeah. I mean, Moreno won the first fight in the first round, but it was that shoulder injury and ground and pound finish. So
yeah, yep.
But the way Royval fights, it's hard to see him going all 5 rounds because he is so reckless and move forward and fun. But that should score well for DraftKings. I do like this fight for DraftKings on both sides. Betting wise, I do like Moreno. I think Moreno is more technical. I think Royval is going to, against really high level technical fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I think Royval is going to struggle, because I think he's going to get picked apart in the feet. And when they grapple, Moreno is scrambling enough to keep up with Royval. That's usually where Royval can out-scramble people. I think it's even on the feet. So I agree with the odds. I like the Moreno side. I like the stack on DraftKings. And that's what we got for fight number 1. Co-main event, Yair Rodriguez, 8,500, taking on Brian Ortega at 7,700. A line on this fight, Yair is minus 148 on DraftKings. Come back on Ortega is plus 125. All you Brian Ortega backers, I recommend caution. The dude is not
5-rounder.
Yeah, and we got 5 rounds. Look, the dude has not fought in 2 years. They're fighting 5 rounds at elevation. Red flag 1 for me. Red flag 2. Brian Ortega is not talking like a guy who wants to be here much longer. That's a big red flag in the fight game. Look at how Volk was talking. Look at how Cejudo was talking. You can draw some real parallels between Ortega. Then, on top of that, you have Ortega. He's not even telling us how many surgeries he's had. He's that banged up and beaten up. Now, has he maybe recovered from all of them? Sure, but and I get he's not sharing because he doesn't want opponents to attack it. But how fucked up is he? Like, he's always talking about walking away because he wants to be able to, I don't know if he said these exact words, but crawl around with his kids and, like, is it time to hang it up? And it's all talk I hate to hear from a fighter. That's just the intangibles. Then I go to that fight. If I hear anybody say that was a fluke injury last time out, no. Yair Rodriguez submitted Brian Ortega. And here's the Yair Yair threw up an armbar. Yes, as great as Ortega is, he went, and I know, I get it. The highest I ever got was my blue belt in BJJ. Then I got old and my shit started dislocating. But I know, and I get he's high level and knows way more than me. You're not supposed to yank limbs out of arm bars. Like you shouldn't be yanking stuff.
Right.
And clearly he thought he was free, he can get out of it, and fine. It's a fluky type of injury, sure, but that's a Yair Rodriguez submission in my book. Is it a little bit freaky? Sure. Anybody trying to discredit Yair for that? Big problem for me. Like, huge problem. That was a mistake from Brian Ortega, at least as I read it. On the feet, Ortega looked a little bit stronger, but I still think over 5 rounds, Yair's going to land much better strikes and be much more fluid, especially when you account for the ring rest I already talked about. Look, Yair's got 5 rounds to work here. I get everybody loves T-City. I can't get there. I'm behind El Pantera on this one. I get he lost to Volkanovski. And Ortega probably looked a little bit better against Volk. You can't wiki cap like that. The intangibles in Ortega scare me so fucking much. They really do. So with all the live, if this was last week where I didn't think we had any dogs, I'd probably play more Ortega, right? I'd be cool. This week where I have dogs upon dogs upon dogs to choose from, no thanks. I'll be underweight to Brian Ortega this week, who will be very popular. Monk.
Yeah, not only will he be very popular, but I think he's too expensive, man. I honestly think this line should be wider than I think you said 145 and plus 125. I wonder, no, actually that won't even matter. I just like Yair here, the way he's looked, even in the Volk fight. I'm not going to discredit anything he did there whatsoever. Volk was still Volk then in the featherweight division. Smashed up Josh Emmett like in 9 minutes, beat, had the win over Brian Ortega. Then it was the Max Holloway and Jeremy Stevens back to back right there. I just don't trust Ortega. It's exactly everything you said. The possible, I don't know when I want to be finished talk. We don't know how injured he is. And I already said I think he's too expensive. So, which also in contrast means that I think Yair Rodriguez is too cheap. And I think he can also get a finish. And when he does get a finish, he tends to score in the triple digits. And he's only $8,500 this week. So I think that's a lot of intangibles for Brian Ortega. I like the guy. I don't have anything against him. I want to see him. I mean, I always liked him. Has a good personality, good fighter in the cage. But same thing with Yair Rodriguez, in my opinion. Both guys are super exciting. I just think Yair is moving uphill trajectory, and I think he's doing that in his head too, where I don't know if Brian Ortega is going up physically or mentally. So give me Yair Rodriguez at what I consider a cheap salary.
All right, let's talk Dennis Zellhuber, 8,900, taking on Francisco Prado at 7,300. Zellhuber minus 270. Comeback on Prado was plus 210. Zellhuber, I think, the definition of UFC jitters in his first fight. Mm-hmm. Monk has won a couple, is a favorite here. Do you like him against Francisco Prado?
I think I do, but that's just because, I mean, Prado's 21. Super young, has a lot of learning left to do and a lot of growing as far as his MMA game goes. And I think he can do that. First of all, the guy's got a brick for a head. So I don't think you're going to knock him out. And that's not how Zellhuber fights anyways. I'm picking Zellhuber just because he looked decent after those jitters against Venata and Giagos. Not the best opponents as far as quality. But neither is Otman Izatar, to be completely honest. The Jamie Malarkey loss did not age the best for Prado, but he's still early enough in his career. Like I said, 21 years old. He can still build off that and turn that around. My problem is Daniel Zellhuber here is probably going to be pretty popular. He's $8,900, and this guy scores no points ever. Never, ever, never. 2 points a minute is what he puts up. That's basically what Derek Lewis scores when he's not getting knockouts. The guy scores 80 points per win, and he's just under 9K this week. I mean, he put up 84 against Giagos in a submission, in a finish win. 84. 75 against Lando Venata. He only scored 20 in 15 minutes against Trey Ogden. The dude just doesn't do enough. All he does is striking, and if all you do is strike, you better land knockdowns or ground and pound and finish fights. And Zellhuber doesn't do any of that shit. So I think Prado's probably able to get hit, but I don't think Zellhuber's going to finish him. I like the Zellhuber decision here, and I will probably be fading him a little bit overall at that high price. And Prado, I'm going to have a little bit more than people probably do on average for the finish potential.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said at the last part. I'll pick other dogs. There's plenty. I'm gonna like we're gonna roll into a few pretty quick that I would rather play.
Oh yeah,
But I think Zellhuber is. I think I'm on their way to this fight overall. I think Zellhuber wins. I think he pieces him up on the outside. He probably does what he did against even in a second round win against Giagos. Like you said, it was 85 points. I think he wins on the outside. I think he's fine, good. I just don't see him finishing Prado early unless Prado really does something stupid. The win over Zaitar, I thought Zaitar's been overrated for a while since he can't get his Fight Island drugs. That was him, I believe.
They were potatoes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's not that exciting of a fight. It's a weird third from the top fight. I think things are gonna de-escalate pretty quickly here, but yeah, I just sure, I guess. And I would actually say if you're going to play anything on bet anything on this fight, whatever the giant number is on Prado by KO, I might take a look at that.
Exactly.
But
yeah,
still for DK, there's just other options.
Yeah.
Raul Rosas Jr., he's 9,000, taking on Ricky Tercios at 7,200. Line on this fight. Raul Rosas Jr. is minus 218. The comeback on Tercios is plus 180. Can anybody tell me what Ricky Tercios is going to show up in this fight? If it was the one who fought Brady Houston, it could be fun. It's either, he scored a bunch of points against Navidad because he had reversals and takedowns in that fight. He's not going to have that here against Rosas Jr., and if he tries to do that, he is going to get finished. Raul Rosas Jr., owner of one of the biggest heads in mixed martial arts. Yeah, you beat Terrence Mitchell. Ooh, your striking looked better in that fight. Great. It's just as good as your win against Jay Perrin. Raul Rosas Jr. is hard to figure out. He's fought two awful fighters and lost to Christian Rodriguez, who I do think is a little better than people think. And I think that was, Rosas Jr. is 18, 19, 14, however fucking old he is. Like, you would think he's going to grow a little bit. I think this is a good fight. There's variance in this fight. I would not play either of these guys in cash games. I wouldn't bet on this fight, honestly. It's just a pass because we don't know how much Rosas has grown up since that first fight. If the same Rosas Jr. shows up to fight Christian Rodriguez and doesn't make any improvements, which I don't take improvement away from the Terrence Mitchell fight. Sorry, doesn't do anything for me. I could guess. But if that Mitchell shows up, if that Rosas shows up who fought Rodriguez, Tercios is really live in this fight because he's at least a vet. He's been around. He's a low-level UFC guy. And if Rosas Jr. is not improving, he's not going to belong. I know he is hyped up and young kid and a prospect. You better get better. You're going to get found out real quick, Sonny. I'm going to pick Rosas because I think he's got a big enough advantage on the mat, and that's where this fight should play out. And that is going to be my pick here. Tercios is a dog I will mix in case we find out Rosas is a fraud. The fact that Rosas is placed below Zellhuber makes why would the UFC do that? Weird. I know it's just one fight placement. It feels weird. I don't know. I don't like it. So yeah, give me Rosas. Come on.
Yeah, I kind of think the same-ish things. I'm a little more confident on the Rosas side. I just think you can say a lot of the same shit about Ricky Tercios. High stand, what has he done since then? Tercios gave up 6 freaking takedowns in that fight, 51%. So Tercios was controlled. Even he did win and score a shitload of points, as you alluded to, but he was being controlled for over 7.5 minutes of that fight. If that happens against Rosas, he's not even going to get controlled for 7. He'll be subbed before that. Kevin Natividad.
I went to pull it up and I expected a low score, and when he scored over 100, how did that happen?
119.
I didn't remember.
Kevin Natividad, who I don't even think has fought since then, and I don't even know his last win off the top of my head. Took him down 7 freaking times. Yeah, he got reversed a bunch of times, But Tercios has given up 13 takedowns in 2 fights, and the third fight was Ayman Zahabi, who I don't think has ever shot a takedown, and he got out-decisioned in that, and he looked so bad in that fight. This has to be a record. He landed 27 significant strikes at 11.5%. So if you don't want to do the math, that means he threw over 230 fucking strikes in 15 minutes, Max Holloway-ish, and
ready?
landed.
No. You know who that's about? I mentioned her name earlier in our pre-show talk. That's Caitlin Sermina.
Yeah. And he landed 27, bro. What are we doing? Like, so what Tercios is going to show up here? If you're telling me one guy has an 11% striking accuracy against a striker and then gives up 13 takedowns to non-strikers, and now he's fighting a specialist on the ground. Yeah, I'm going to go with Rosas here. I don't mind playing some of them in cash. I like him for GPPs. I'll have a little bit of Tercios. Don't get me wrong. I don't go 0 on anybody. But man, I think Rosas Jr. would really have to shit the bed here, or lose a super shitty decision for Tercios to get the win. Or for yeah,
are you really sure he's not going to shit the bed? Because I have questions.
I mean, I'm not sure about. There's like 20 fighters I could say that about on this card. As far as I'm gonna go with the specialist here against the guy who can't seem to defend takedowns or strike very well. I think he's just good at changing his nickname a bunch of times.
Mug's excited for this one, guys. I'm giving you a little teaser. Get jacked up. Yasmin Yarigüe. I don't know if I said that right. My Spanish accent's the worst of all my accents. I can do Eastern European great, but yeah. Spanish, Portuguese, no good. Those R's are hard. Yarigüe is 9,500. Sam Hughes. The Sam page is 6,700. Line on this fight. Yarigüe is minus 575. The comeback on the Sam page, as she shall be known, is plus 425. Monk. Hurricane Sam Hughes. What's up?
Yeah, it's Sam page. She's on a Sam page. Why is my question after what you just said? Uragi's minus what did you say?
I said if I want to get real aggressive,
you said Uragi's minus 5 something. Are you fucking
on
serious?
DraftKings on FanDuel? She's minus 770.
Yeah, how is question number 1, and then why is question number 2 mostly. Because she fought somebody named Yasmin Lucindo. I know who she is. Don't worry, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic there. Scored 64 points in a win. Ooh, then she scored 130 against Estela Nunes, who is the female version of Daniel Lacerda, who we're going to talk about, unfortunately, very shortly. And then she lost to Denise Gomes in less than like 20 seconds. Now she's minus 770 against a UFC vet who's 3-2 in her last 5, and who also happened to beat the world's greatest strawweight, Estela Nunes. I just don't get this at all, man. Everybody was super high on, Amarim's going to crush her. Yeah, what happened there? Sam Page did her thing. Everybody's saying she's old. She's 31 years old. There's so many narrative people out there this week that I don't get it, man. I don't understand this line. I don't understand these salaries. Normally I shy away from 6,700, but are you kidding me? Sam is, like I said, 3-2 in her last 5. Now she's cheaper than she's ever been, even against Luana Pinheiro. And also, she scores very well per loss on average. So even when she loses, where is she here on this list? She scores pretty well. Oh, yeah, Uregi gave up 133 points when she lost also. So I know that was a quick win. But if Sam can, get out of the first round, this is what we say in all of our fights. If Sam gets out of the first round, if you're holding one of the Uregi tickets, I don't know what the fuck you're doing in the first place, but you're going to be sweating pretty hard. And yeah, Sam Hughes is going to be my kill shot this week. I don't know that she's actually going to win, and maybe Uregi's made a ton of improvements, but this line is way too wide. Way too wide.
Yeah, this is Sam Hughes's 8th UFC fight, and the highest she's ever been priced was 7,700.
Yep. And what's her record in the UFC? So she's got 3 wins.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. So she's got 3 wins at big time dog numbers.
Yeah, and she's lost to Tisha Torres. Okay. Lost to Luma Lukbunmi, where she scored 41 points though, actually. Lost to Luana Pinheiro, who I think I've gotten her right. I mean, she's not a world, but she's solid. Beat Estela Nunes, beat Elise Reed, lost to, I guess the one people will point at is lost to Piera Rodriguez, but that was Piera Rodriguez was until she just lost to Jillian Robertson.
Oh yeah.
And then I just
Amarim.
closed and then beat Amarim. Look, I agree with you in that this line should be closer. I think all the value here is on Sam Hughes, and if Urigue finds a first round KO, fuck, I guess I just lost. Like, and I'm still made out of it. The price, depending on the it'll be harder.
Sam Hughes is tough as shit. Who always fights for? When has anyone get KO'd in the first round in this division?
It's true. So yeah, I think Sam Hughes
except for Yasmin Urigue, I guess.
I would take a stab at plus 480 on Sam Hughes. I think is the value in this fight.
Oh yeah, that's going to keep going up. Don't bet it yet.
What is Sam Hughes by decision?
This is insane. What is happening in this line for this line?
Even if and what's great is Urigue win a dominant decision. People be like, "You guys are idiots."
Yeah,
I was right. Oh yeah, well you took a minus 770.
No decision is value at minus 770. None, 0%.
Now, if Urigue goes on to be like a champion, then I guess, but I don't know. I agree. I think the line is too wide. I can't find Hughes wins by decision. Oh, it's weird. Yeah, I just gotta wait because she's 770 or plus what did I say? Plus 480. Oh, it's plus 600. Plus 600 Hughes by decision.
Just bet the money line at that point. It'll be plus 500 before Saturday.
Yeah, probably. Keep an eye on that.
The sharps will come in tomorrow night and it'll be back to plus 400. Maybe you should bet it now.
We'll see. I'm probably not going to do it unless I do like some bullshit $20.
Sam Page, let's go.
Here's all the dogs I like play. All right, let's move on. Let's talk Manuel Torres. He's 8,300, taking on Chris Duncan at 7,900. Line on this fight: Manuel Torres is minus 192. Chris Duncan is plus 160. Look, to me, this fight is actually a pretty simple breakdown. Duncan's the better fighter if he can stay conscious, and that was a big concern early. He didn't get knocked out by Yanal Ashmouz. He didn't get knocked out by which Morales was it? I don't want to say it's not Michael Morales. Help me out. Omar Morales. Thank you. You know, who doesn't hit soft? I know he's like, if the chin holds up from Chris Duncan, I don't really like Manuel Torres as a fighter. I think he's a little one-dimensional to the power. So it's one of those, you can play Torres for GPPs. I think he's going to be more popular. I like Duncan. I'm going to take the more technical fighter. I think Duncan gets this one down and is sneakier in DraftKings, and I get some value in the betting line. So for me, it's a case of one-dimensional versus staying conscious. And if the argument for picking Torres is he's going to knock out Duncan, my only counterpoint at that point is I guess we'll see. I don't could the MMA, but in terms of picking, I'm going to go with a dog here. Mug.
Yeah, and I kind of disagree. I think Duncan's going to be super popular this week. I've seen a lot of people on him, and because
I'm not great at ownership, so there we go.
Yeah, I think I think he's going to be pretty popular. Look, both guys score.
As the lead MMA coach of DFS Army, I rely on our ownership projections. I have what I think in my head, but I use that too. That's one of the ones that I have no input in. Right. I use the tool like everybody else and can make decisions off of that. But
yeah, I haven't even seen him yet.
No, we usually have it Fridays. Tomorrow you'll see it.
Yeah, Manuel obviously scored. He's the better scorer from everywhere, even at distance, even inside the distance, he scores more points per minute than Chris Duncan does. Is Duncan going to get knocked out? If he doesn't, what's Torres going to look like in 2 and 3 if he starts getting taken down? This fight's close enough that you could play either side, and you're going to want to play both sides for GPPs because if Duncan lands a lot of takedowns and finds a finish, then that will probably score well. And if Torres, his path to victory is an early KO, that's definitely going to score well at the second lowest favorite salary there is. And he's putting up a lot of points, 114 and 105 per win. The thing I'm worried about is a Duncan decision. Like, what does that look like? Because he scored only 90 against Omar Morales, who is not a good fighter, and I don't think he's in the UFC anymore. I could be wrong, I guess. And then Yanal Ashmouz, who looked great in his first fight, quick KO, but then he broke his hand against Duncan, in the very first round, and Duncan showed he didn't even throw the left hand after that. Not one time. It was just, he was a one-armed fighter, and Duncan couldn't finish a one-armed fight. Like, what? He scored 75 points in that fight, 2 takedowns, 5% control time, 85 strikes on a one-armed guy. Like, I just don't get it. So I don't think a Chris Duncan decision looks very good. I'm going to be higher on Torres because his path to victory scores much, much higher than Duncan's, in my opinion. So, yeah, give me El Loco. I picked him outright for the win. He's made optimal lineup 2 out of 2 times. Let's make it 3 out of 3 against the guy that I've seen a lot of people favoring as the dog.
Hey, look at that. We're on opposite sides. No circle jerk here.
There we go.
I'll fight you on this next one, though.
Oh, yeah. Which side are you on?
Raoni Barcelos is 8,600, taking on Christian Quinones at 7,600. Line on this fight. Raoni Barcelos is minus 175. The comeback on Quinones is plus 145. You're first in this fight, so you don't get to find out which side I'm on quite yet.
Yeah. I don't like this fight. I just don't. I don't like it. Raoni's 1-4, and before anybody says, but I know he won the fight against Valiev, even though it wasn't a win. I understand that, but then he turned that around and lost to a debuting fighter, I think, at the time, in Victor Henry. Beat Trevin Jones, lost to Umar, as he should, and then lost to Kyler Phillips in a pretty close fight. But when I'm looking at your stuff, and your only win in your last 4 is Trevin Jones, like, in your 36, closer to 37, am I supposed to be impressed? I'm not. Christian Quinones, KO'd Khalid Taha, who cares, in the first round, and then got subbed in 2.5 minutes by Mr. Perfect. So I don't know what to think about Christian Quinones. I hate this fight. I guess I'm going with Barcelos because he has ended up scoring okay, 3.5 points a minute. And he's been in close fights. The Umar fight, you definitely wasn't close. Henry did kind of dominate him, it felt like, on the feet, especially in rounds 2 and 3. But there aren't really any stats that stand out. Both these guys scored less than 100 points. Quinones gave up a shitload of points when he lost. I guess I'm going to pick Raoni, but I'm going to watch ownerships, and if it's too high, I'm going to be under because I don't trust either guy. Not man of them.
Don't worry about it. People are hopping off Barcelos, and I'm here to tell you I think that's a mistake. 8,600. You're telling me a guy got subbed by Kung Ho Kang, and now you're going to put him in there against Raoni Barcelos, who beat Timur Valiev, knocked down Timur Valiev twice.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, in that fight, took down Kyler Phillips 3 times. Took down Trevin Jones. Fine, I'll let that go. But he scored 52 in the loss against Valiev, 59 in the loss against Henry. On all the guys he just fought, honestly, the only one who wouldn't be favored against Quinones is Trevin Jones. And I'm not even 100% sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just talking about Raoni being old. And I get it, but because he's 1-4 in his last 5, but he's taken on some fucking killers. Like, the Valiev one was like he's at the top of this division. I've always now at one point I thought he was a future title contender. He rolled off 5 in a row. I was on him as soon as the Kurt Holobaugh fight, and then he lost it. It's a shame the Timur Valiev fight really fucked him.
Yeah,
like that ruined his title run, and I wonder if some of the Henry loss was a bit of a hangover from that. And it still wasn't. Henry's an active fighter. It just gets weird. And then at that point now he's
gone.
Yeah, and now he's too old to really make a title. Like, now he's fallen off a little bit to where, when he was fighting Henry Jones, like, that's about when he should be making his title run, 2022-ish. And now, Umar, great fighter, took a shot there, and now it's just rough. I think he's just in a rough spot. And Kyler Phillips, it's interesting because the more I talk about it, if your argument is Raoni is done and he's checked out and he's old, I guess. I can't pick fights that way until I have heard nothing from Raoni, unlike Brian Ortega, who is scaring me off. Like, not to mention that Raoni gets to fight Christian Quinones and Brian Ortega gets to fight Yair Rodriguez. Massive fucking difference, by the way. So look, that loss against Kang should be throwing up red flags everywhere. You guys want to place money on that guy against Raoni? You are just relying on Raoni being done. I'm not going to do it. I admit I've been a Raoni mark and on him since he got into the UFC. So there's my admitted bias up front. But I'm rolling with Raoni, and I think there's better underdogs and kill shots out there than Quinones. Even the next fight where I'm going to pick Mendonks, and I still can be like, all right, I get why you're picking. I would take Aguiar over Quinones, and neither one I'm really going hard on. It's more to make the point, hey, this is how little I like Quinones. Let's move on. Let's talk about that fight. Mateus Mendonks at 8,400, taking on Jesus Aguiar at 7,800. A line on this fight, minus 125 for Mendonks. Come back on Aguiar's plus 105. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 180. Mid-range, should see a finish. I like Mendonks. I think he's more powerful. Just like my problem with what he beat Aguiar beat Shannon Ross in what was that the fight that was like under 10 seconds because Shannon Ross can't take a shot?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And he lost to Tatsuhiro Taira. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to hold that one against you. On the Contender Series, though, he was the guy who's fallen to his back. Immediate giant red fucking flags. Like immediate. You're gonna roll your back against Mendonks? Okay. That he's an angry tiny man who hits hard. I don't like that visual. I'll take the guy who I think is stronger, more volume, more powerful, doesn't fall to his back in admittedly a high variance fight. Don't play it in cash games, but I'm on Mendonks. Monk.
Yeah, I really don't have much to add. Both of these guys lost to talented guys in different divisions. Mendonça fought Basharat at bantamweight, and then now he's back at flyweight. Whereas Aguilar lost to Taira. If you beat Shannon Ross, I don't really care. That doesn't count. That's a nothing to me. And then Mendonça,
good. You could close a door, make some wind.
Exactly. And then Mendonça losing to Maness in less than 5 minutes. I don't have really anything to add. I think Mendonça is better, more powerful, and I think this one finishes as well. So big GPP fight here, but I do favor the favorite.
All right. I get to go off on the next one. You are first, though. Edgar Chairez at 9,300, taking on Daniel da Silva Lacerda at 6,900. Line on this fight. This to me, this is as egregious as the Uruguay line. Minus 485 on Chairez, plus 370 the comeback on da Silva. I won't go into my rant yet. Monk, who you got?
You did not just compare Daniel Lacerda to Sam Hughes, but that's a whole nother topic we'll get on.
No, I compared Uruguay being a favorite to Chairez being that big of a favorite. I get the dog.
Yeah, this line should be flipped with the Uregi line. Chairez should be fucking minus 1,000.
No. All right. You're trying to rile me up. I know you're doing. You're trying to rile me up.
Look, one of these guys fought someone good, and the other guy has lost to everyone that he's fought and isn't good. Chairez lost to Taira. What do you expect? Taira is a super good prospect. I don't even know if we can still call him a prospect. He has 5 straight wins, maybe even 6. I don't know. And Chairez, the fight against Lacerda, Lacerda was looking okay. He landed 4 strikes and a takedown. I don't know if you can call that okay. He controlled him for a minute, but then he was getting standing guillotined. He was just doing Lacerda shit. This dude came into the UFC, lost to Jeff Molina, Francisco Figueiredo in 1 minute. He got subbed in a minute by Little Figgy. Lost to Alta Moreno, probably his best loss, actually. And then CJ Vergara, maybe the Vergara fight might be his best one.
So much.
He's just bad. I picked him in several fights, and he's just constantly let me down when he was in the UFC. So fuck him. That's why. I just don't. And what are he's got dog potential. Yeah, he's 6,900. Last time he was 6,900, he did put up 46 points against Vergara in 9 minutes, which is super impressive. But is that what I'm supposed to expect going forward, or am I supposed to expect another finish loss? Oh yeah, he's been finished in every single fight that he has had in the UFC, whereas Edgar at least went 15 minutes with a super good fighter in Taira. So what's going to be different here? Give me Edgar Chairez. If Lacerda wins, cool, that's fine. But if you're bragging about a Lacerda win on Sunday morning, you should take an extra couple seconds to look in the mirror. That's all I'm going to say.
I will look back and I will see perfection, sir.
Perfection. You see, whew, good thing I got that one right, because who the fuck knew?
What's the thing? That's exactly my point. Ha! I got you.
No, you didn't, because one guy's been finished in 4 fights in a row.
The last time they fought, Vegas is
5, actually. That was a good stoppage.
Vegas is super not sharp, right? The last time they fought, Lacerda was the minus 200 favorite. And even then I said, this is a super, super, super high variance fight. They were right. And we see one of those outcomes.
I'm laughing.
Yes.
But he was minus 2. No, he was plus 200. I thought he was
no, Lacerda was favored. Lacerda was a minus 200 favorite. Unless I am crazy and reading that
I think you're
wrong.
looking at it backwards.
Am I looking at it backwards?
Chirez is minus 214.
I have it the opposite in my spreadsheet. Okay.
And Lacerda is plus 184.
I need to click here. Did I flip it?
Say, if that's the case, I would have bet my entire life savings on Edgar Chirez.
I had it backwards.
Well, he was a favorite against Figgy,
right.
So not just
still
me hates
Figgy. Gonna back up. All right, rewind some of that. Yes, the super annoying guy made a mistake in a spreadsheet. Fuck you guys. Regardless, I still said it was a super variant fight, and I stand by that. I still stand by that, regardless of typos aside.
But it's not as variant anymore because we saw what happened.
You saw one of the outcomes.
The most likely outcome, Lacerda getting finished.
I don't think so.
Because that's what happens in every fight.
Well, a Lacerda finish happens in every fight. Dude has been in 16 fights, has never seen the judges. All of his wins, all of his losses. This is a GPP special. I will have plenty of Chirez, but I'm also going to have plenty of Lacerda because I do think it's super high variance. Let's not act like Edgar Chirez. Yeah, okay. He lost to Tyra. Then you got to go back, right? And he lost in the Contender Series to Clayton Carpenter. That's. I mean, I guess Carpenter's only had one fight since then. It was one Camilo Renderos. I don't think it's that great of a loss. Then he lost. Then he beat a 5-7. This is after he was on Contender Series. Went and crushed Roberto Guerrero in UWC, and he got a win over Johnny Vasquez in Fury, which is okay. Vasquez 8-3-1. I remember watching one of his fights. He's okay. I don't think my point is this is a super low level fucking shit show. And I get one guy at 6,900 that no one's going to be on because because I've mentioned this fight all the time. I watched Tim Means almost beat Alex Cowboy Oliveira, and it's going to happen again. And that was, these two powerful guys, and that's what's going to happen. And then Cowboy goes out and blasts Tim Means. I'm not saying that's going to happen here. I just think Da Silva is way more live than people are suggesting. And if he wins, this fight's not going to see the judges. It's just not. That would stun me. What would surprise you more? A Chirez decision win?
Yes.
Or a Lacerda win of any kind.
Chirez decision. Yeah, this isn't going.
Like, don't if I get the ownerships tomorrow and I see Lacerda at 15%, I'm going to double that, probably plus some.
He'll be at least 20. There's only 10 fight 11. No, there's 13 now.
Yeah, there's 13.
Well, maybe then.
And I'll be at 30 easy. I just think he's super live. I'm going to go out. I like Chirez so little as a prospect. I'm going to take a shot on the crazy ass Brazilian, and he's fun. So give me Lacerda. And if he wins, don't worry, guys. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to look in the mirror. I'm going to frown. I'm going to remember that, hey, wait, I picked Lacerda. And I'll be happy again. And I'll move on about my day.
So you're going to show all those betting slips that you bet all this money on Lacerda?
I'll be showing my DraftKings screenshots, hopefully crushing.
There you go.
Until fucking nothing else goes my way. And you guys are like, hey, where are the screenshots? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Ortega fucking finished a year in 60 seconds. And what's the other? And Duncan got knocked out in 45. So like, I'll get La Silva right, but miss every favorite.
Right.
Like, oh, there you go. Good call, Sniper, you fucking idiot. But by the way, if Neil gets that decision last week, I'd take home so much money. So, not that he should have, but fuck you, Ian Gary. Somehow it makes me hate you more. Stupid. Ian Gary's the guy the cuck chair in the hotels are for. Like he's that guy.
That's the Gary chair.
Oh, I gotta start calling it that. I'm
Or you
going
can
to
go with Macherdo also.
I'm,
Ian Macherdo, Gary.
I'm definitely going to I'm gonna be at a hotel in a couple weeks. I'm definitely posting that on the Twitter machine. Look, guys, it's my Ian Gary chair. All right, let's move on to Faraz Ziam at 8,700, taking on the leg lock specialist, the Peruvian Ryan Hall, Claudio Puellas at 7,500. Line on this fight. I can't believe I fucked that up in my spreadsheet. That was not good. ZM is minus 198. Puellas is plus 164. Puellas needs to get a leg lock. That's what he does. If he doesn't, and he fights somebody decent, he's in trouble. And that's what Faraz ZM is. I don't think ZM is well-rounded, not super exciting, but to me, I think he's good enough to handle the leg lock game, better on the feet. He got overwhelmed by Terrence McKinney and lost to a really underrated Don Madge. ZM is good enough for Puellas here. I think Puellas is good. He had that fight against Dan Hooker. I think he's going to be continuing that downslope for a little bit. Give me ZM to be more technical, win this fight. And yeah, I like him all around. Puellas is not a guy I'm heavily targeting. Monk?
I'm the opposite. I'm not playing Ferris ZM hardly at all because he scores like absolute dog shit. Even when he does somehow get the judges' decisions against Luigi Vendramini, he should have lost that fight according to the stats. Scored only 46 points in his win. Vendramini outscored him by 11 fucking points before the bonus, but somehow he gets the win there. He gets a win against Jamie Malarkey, who also outscored him also by 10 points in that win. And that was even further apart, wider stat line from Malarkey than it was against Vendramini. Scores 67 points in that one. Congrats, he beat Michael Figlak and didn't even score 100 points there. Like, who cares? I am not interested in him whatsoever for GPPs. I don't even care if he comes out here and somehow knocks out Puellas. Like, that's gonna freaking happen. He doesn't knock out anybody. Then I'll just eat it because that's the least likely thing that I think is going to happen here. And yes, I will absolutely be taking a shot at 7,500. Claudio Puellas by flying toe hold. Let's fucking go. Guy's 4-1 in his last 5. Only lost to Dan Hooker. Yes, he got 2 leg locks, but then he's won 2 decisions before that against Levitt and Marcos Mariano. And also his last 5 strength of schedule is better than Faris Ziam. So both guys are 4-1. One guy has a path to victory, which scores this many points at 8,700. And the other guy has a path to victory that scores him over 100 or over 90 at least at 7,500. So yeah, and a finish. Give me Puellas here. Fucking fuck Faris Ziam for DraftKings forever. That guy's a fucking bum. I don't care how many fights he wins by decision. I'll never, ever play him in GPPs or cash.
Fuck him.
Fuck him. Smile killer indeed. Because when I'm looking at my lineups and I see a bunch of wins and a bunch of money comes in and then I have Faris Ziam, my smile is dead because I know he's going to score 16 points in a win.
You know what makes my smile dead? Dennis Bondar. He's 8,200. He's taking on Ronaldo Rodriguez at 8,000. Line on this fight, Dennis Bondar. Oh, good, it's flipped. Good. Plus 102. It's actually sad. I would like Rodriguez a bunch. Clearly, the line movement indicates I'm with the sharper people here. Minus 122, the comeback on Rodriguez. I'm a little sad about this because it means Rodriguez is going to be popular, and I really liked him here. But you are first for this fight. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. This one, Jesus. I mean, does anyone even know who Rodriguez is? Because half the sites he's on listed as Luis, half the sites he's listed as Rodrigo. People don't know who the fuck's fighting. This is another shitty low level high variance fight. Another fight where neither guy has a UFC win. One guy lost to Malcolm Gordon and Carlos Hernandez. And then Rodriguez lost, I believe, his DWC, or was this a... Yeah, this is a DWCS fight, right?
Against in 2020.
Yeah, exactly. So he loses that fight, and now he's making his debut against a terrible fighter in Bondar. Just play this one in GPPs. Don't touch it in cash. I probably liked Rodriguez more just because I think Bondar has looked very, very shitty. The Hernandez fight was close. He did score 42 points at 7,900, but I mean, we really didn't see much. A couple takedowns, zero control time, mostly just Bondar getting outstruck, getting 100 strikes dropped on him. So give me Rodriguez. The line seems to indicate that Rodriguez is now the favorite, so you're getting a tiny little bit of line value there, but the most expensive dog against the cheapest favorite, just play this in GPP. It's a real shit show.
I like Rodriguez a little more. I think since his Contender Series fight, he's looked a little better from what I've seen on the regional scene. I don't like Bondar. Agree, though. I can't be super confident. I don't like the line movement is about where it should be now compared to when it opened. I like Rodriguez. The two I'm still going to be higher on. I think he's more likely to get the win. Obviously, with elevation, too, being from Mexico. Well, maybe a slight advantage there. We haven't talked much about the elevation. It does play a factor in these fights, but give me Rodriguez. Not a whole lot to add. It's not one you should be super confident in either way because there's a lot of unknowns here. But if you make me pick based on what I have watched on film, the pick is Rodriguez. Next fight up, Felipe Dos Santos, 9,200, taking on Victor Altamirano at 7,000. Line on this fight, Dos Santos minus 300. Comeback in Altamirano plus 225. Felipe Dos Santos made his UFC debut. Looked great against Manel Kape. Still lost the fight. And now we get Victor Altamirano. And people are picking Dos Santos, and this line is so big because of how he looked. And I get it. He looked really good. Victor Altamirano is no joke. Dude is legit. I know he lost to Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott's a weird fucking guy to fight. And they stand up on the feet. Based on what I saw, Dos Santos probably has an edge, but man, it's hard to trust a guy who's 0-1 in the UFC with this much hype against a guy I know is decent. And it's kind of that simple for me. And you got, for what it's worth, Altamirano fighting at home. Did I pull the trigger? I have to go look. I came really close to picking Victor Altamirano straight up in this fight, just based on that decline, the fall off, wanting to see more, and just on the feet, it being closer than I think people thought. I do think there's value in Altamirano. I think he'll be underowned. I'll probably mix in some Dos Santos. I think I picked Dos Santos, but Altamirano is a guy I will be overweight on in GPPs, and I think that's where the value is betting. How about for you, Monk?
Yeah, same. I've thought this about the guy pretty much every fight, especially in his last fight against Tim Elliott. He did score 31 points at 7,200, but it was still a letdown as he did not get the win. And Elliott kind of, I guess dominate. Yeah, he controlled him for 75% of that fight. Felipe Dos Santos did look good. I'm not going to go as far as to say great, but did look good against Kape because he still got knocked down, out controlled, and all he did was strike. He did land 40 points in that fight, but pretty one-dimensional it did seem like there. I guess I am going to favor the dog just a little bit. I don't think I picked him, but because I do think Dos Santos probably wins a decision. I don't know which Altamirano we're going to get, man. I've been rooting for him, but his only two wins are against Vinicius Salvador, not a great win, and then Daniel Lacerda, again, not a great win. Not a great win there. First round KO. I mean, yeah, that's a good win, but certainly, if we're talking strength of schedule, Lacerda only hurts him because Altamirano's strength of schedule is almost 20 points lower than Felipe Dos Santos is so far in the UFC, and that is a gigantic number. So yeah, Altamirano does have some GPP upside for sure, but I think Felipe Dos Santos does as well. Another low-level fight here. Lots of question marks, not playing it for cash. Maybe Altamirano if I needed a punt play. Maybe I can get 30, 35 points out of him in a loss. But I am not confident in either side of this one. So, yeah, GPP heavy, probably bigger on the underdog since he's so cheap.
All right, let's wrap it up with Muhammad Naimov, 9,100, taking on Eric Silva at 7,100. Line on this fight, Naimov minus 575. Come back on Silva plus 425. Monk, you are first.
Yeah, it's Muhammad Naimov like all day for me. Cash GPPs, I think he's good in every format. Beat Jamie Malarkey at 6,500. Gigantic underdog, knocks out Jamie Malarkey in a fight that hardly anybody picked Naimov in, and then gets a good win against Nathaniel Wood. Decisioned him, very good win there, scores 96. I mean, Naimov, let's see, 4 takedowns there against Wood. You know what he's going to do. Scores almost 4 points a minute. Silva, meanwhile, gives up 4.3 points a minute, allowed 2 takedowns to TJ Brown. And the biggest part is he got out controlled, or he allowed 71% control time in almost 14 minutes. So 3/4 of the fight, TJ Brown was controlling Eric Silva, who loves to rush in with his head straight up and his arms down and just get finished. So, yeah, I'm going Muhammad Naimov here. Hopefully he can finish the fight via submission or ground and pound, or win a decision in which he lands either a bunch of takedowns or a few takedowns, a bunch of control time, and some ground and pound. So, yeah, I think Naimov's path to victory scores much better than Silva. But if you're on the Silva side, lucky for you, he's only 7,100, so that could help. But I'm squarely on the Muhammad Naimov side.
We will end the podcast with an agreement. Again, like you said, Silva rushes in. Naimov has power. He's been the dog against Malarkey Wood, 2 big wins. Stepped down in competition against Eric Silva. Set him up pretty well here. Give me Naimov. One of the dogs I probably like the most in this card. I just don't think Silva's good. I just don't. That simple. Do kill shots. If you're not familiar with the kill shot, it is a DraftKings play that is under-owned. Should be a dog typically that can win you a GPP. Cheap, not popular. I think we both know ours. It's pretty straightforward this week. I'll go first so Monk can berate me in his. I'm taking Daniel Lacerda because everybody loves Edgar Chairez, who's yet to win a UFC fight.
Oh, they don't.
Everybody, no. Chairez is real popular. He's really popular. Yeah, Chairez.
So just like every Lacerda fight, it's always like, Lacerda, I like Lacerda, like plus 400, and then he gets fucking finished in the first round. They're like, this time he's at plus 350. I really like him there, and he gets finished in the first round. It's just like, how many times?
Why did your impression of me sound like I have to shit?
No, that wasn't you. That was the Twitterverse. I would never do an impression. I would never do an impression of you in front of you. I have some tact. But yeah, that's all I've seen on Twitter every time Lacerda fights. And how much money are we like gonna? I'm not included in this. But we are gonna donate to the bookies on this dude. Like this, just time after time, take my money and I'll just cry on my massive pile of hope.
See, you just created a great nickname for him. It should be Daniel Cindy Lauper Lacerda.
Yeah, massive pile of hope. Lacerda Dos Santos, mi hijo. Yeah, it's Sam Hughes for me. She's way undervalued, scores well when she loses. I don't necessarily expect her to win, although I did pick her, and I can see her winning. I just think that she could score well, even in a decision loss. 6,700 is gigantic. Talk about people that are going to be under-owned. We know Sam Hughes is going to be low-owned. So, yeah, give me her 67.
All right, guys, that's what we got. Under an hour, 13 fights and kill shots. You don't like it? Fuck off. It's still too long. That's right. I'm the annoying guy. Oh, we're in Bustin' Balls. Geek will be back next week. We will try and keep him in line. I don't know if he's going to host, if I'm going to host. I don't know.
I'll just talk about Umar and then no other fights. I'll just talk about Umar every time.
At least we're getting Geek back next week on a card that's got 10 fights. Next week is
brutal.
Good thing I like fighting.
Yeah.
Are there other? See, it's going to take us a little over an hour now because next week there is one show on Friday night. I can't say I watch Octagon. I will watch the one show.
Yeah.
And a boxing fight. Yeah. So at least we have the one
Saudi
event.
card next week.
Sorry, say it again.
Saudi, is that the boxing fight?
Or
is that later? I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
No, there's right now it's the light heavyweight championship. It's Malkine and De Ritter. And then Jared Brooks and the flyweight title. I can't
said light heavyweight, and I just got PTSD for a second.
No, it's heavyweight. Sorry.
This is going to be the greatest card ever. Your head's going to explode when we announce the main event. Look,
I like one. There also is if you are a boxing fan, which not for me. There's Serrano, Amanda Serrano's fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who Nina Menke is, but I'm admittedly not a huge boxing fan. But you got 46-2-1. Oh, and Jake Paul. Oh, Jake Paul's fighting.
Yeah, Serrano. Yeah, Serrano fights every Jake Paul card.
I forgot that shit.
He's like her manager. I don't know what to say.
Ryan Borland. God damn it! Here we are again. Fuck, man.
At least we get Jairzinho and Shamil next week. There we go.
That's a fine fight night main event. I know you were ragging on it, but for a fight night main event, it's fine.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. All I saw was Rosenstruik, and then I saw Shamil, and I was like, "You're fucking kidding me!" They gave Abdurakhimov a mate. This is the shittiest. And then I read the whole name. I was like, "All right, it's not Abdurakhimov." I take it back.
I feel like that's racist.
PTSD when I see Shamil. I'm just like, no.
Shamil Abdurakhimov.
Yeah. Like, great. Sweet.
All right, guys. See, we were able to get over an hour just for you guys. See, it's a long form. It's a long form podcast now.
Exactly.
Hit the like button. Join us in DFS Army. Follow Monk on Twitter. Me too. Sniper wins. Monk. Oh God, what's your handle? Monk
at
MMA.
Monk Maddox.
Monk Maddox. Check that shit out. And go listen to the nickname podcast. What is it? What's the official
I haven't done
name?
that in a bit. I haven't done anything since I've been doing
what
all my
doing?
data. It was the nickname show. I still do the happy hour show on Thursdays with my guy Lou Betya, but that's the only other content I'm doing.
Check all of Monk's shit out. Follow us with DFS Army. See you in the Discord. Good luck, guys. We will see you next time.